Hi friends! Are you feeling the need for a creative reset? Like many of you, I took a little break over the summer and now I'm back, refreshed for fall and ready to begin again. And you might be wondering, where do I start if I'm feeling a little rusty? Here's what I've learned both for myself and for my students. Whenever you feel overwhelmed or unsure of what to draw, you can always stop, reset, and return to the original 8-step Zentangle method. That's exactly what I have planned for you in this drawing meditation. Whether you're coming back after a break or you're brand new to mindful drawing, this is a great place to start. Welcome to fall and to a new series of mindful drawing meditations. My name is Yehudit Steinberg. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher with a master's degree in adult learning, and I've been teaching community arts for many years with a focus on mindful drawing for the past 4 years. So you might think, what is mindful drawing? Mindful drawing blends focused attention with creative flow. It's a practice that combines mindfulness techniques with the act of drawing, emphasizing presence, awareness, and non-judgmental observation rather than focusing on the outcome or your skill level. Here on this channel, I share videos to help you slow down, focus, and remember to breathe. Today I've chosen a simple Zentangle pattern called Pangea. Inside this tangle, we'll create a repetitive line design perfect for getting back into the drawing groove. This art tile serves as a daily self-care reminder to pause and breathe throughout your day that you can keep on your desk or in a journal or even on your fridge. So let's take a moment to talk about breath. Why breath? Because breath is the simplest tool we have to reset. A few slow breaths calms the nervous system, brings you back to the present, and creates space for creativity. That's why today's project centers around that one powerful word. And in the Zentangle method, each stroke is like a breath, slow, intentional, and grounding. That's why today's project centers around this one powerful word. Let's create a tile that helps us remember to breathe throughout the day. So before we start to draw, let's review the supplies we'll use today. These are the basic beginner tools recommended by Zentangle to get started. One of the most asked questions I see in Zentangle and Doodle groups is, what supplies do I start with? What pen do I use? So let's answer that once and for all. Okay, so there are a number of different types of fine line drawing pens. Sakura Micron is the favorite for most Zentangle certified Zentangle teachers, and headquarters recommends it. I use a few different types of pens that I like, and I will share in a separate video my 3 favorite choices. But to begin with, I suggest and recommend you begin with the Micron. And today we're going to use a Micron 01, which is a very fine nib. And it's really, there we go. And it's very delicate. So if you are a heavy-handed drawer, and many of us are, like myself, the other choice pen to start with is a PN, a plastic nib. And so this nib holds up and is stronger than the 01 Micron. and you can press lightly and get fine lines, and you press a little harder and you get thicker lines. So it also works well with the inking that we'll be doing in this project. The other thing that we use is we do use graphite, and number 2 is great. You can use a pencil, any type of pencil. I am using this mechanical pencil because I find that the weight of it works really well for my beginning sketching, but it's purely optional. And the same thing with this mechanical pencil that I use for shading. A number 2 is B is the shading pencil that I use first in my shading. And this has this in its the lead of this particular pencil. Then we have our blending tools, and this is called a tortillon, and I use Jack Richardson. I will leave in the description below links to all of my basic Zentangle supplies, and I use Jack Richardson because I find it to be the highest quality, and that these tips last a long time. The cheaper ones tend to not work as well. So those are the supplies that we will be using today, including I'm using a 3.5 inch Zentangle tile. You use what you have. If you are in a sketchbook, you can draw a 3.5 inch square. If you feel like you want to make your design larger, you're welcome to do that. And this is what I'll be using. It's optional to use a color. I chose a pop of color. I'm using this turquoise for my pop of color. You do you. If you want to put a little color, go right ahead. This is a Prismacolor Premier pencil. That's it. Simple, accessible, and beginner friendly. You don't need a studio full of art supplies to get started. Just these 4 basics will take you a long way. And if you don't have a tortillon as a blending tool, you can use a Q-tip. You can use your finger as well. Okay, so now let's move on to drawing our meditation. The Zentangle Method is an easy to learn step-by-step process that guides you from a blank tile to a finished piece, helping you create beautiful art while also calming your mind. Today we're creating a breathe monotangle tile. What is a monotangle? It's just one pattern that we're going to repeat throughout the entire tile. It's a simple project that will walk us through all 8 steps of the Zentangle method and serve as a daily reminder to pause and breathe. But before we put pen to paper, let's take a moment to center ourselves. Close your eyes if you like, and let's take 3 deep breaths. We're going to take a breath in and hold it for 5 seconds, and then we're going to let it out. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So let's do this together. Let's take a deep breath in, hold it, and let's let it out through the mouth slowly. Another deep breath in through the nose and hold it, and let it out through the mouth. One more time. Breath in and let it out. Now place your hands on your heart. Breathe gently into your heart space and allow yourself to feel gratitude. Gratitude for this moment of me time, for the simple gift of pen and paper, and for the chance to express yourself creatively. Let this gratitude carry you as we draw together. And when you're ready, open your eyes and take your paper and we'll begin. Okay, so let's now move on to step 2, as we just did step 1 in our getting present and acknowledging gratitude and feeling gratitude for this moment in time. Step 2 is all about placing dots in a corner. And one of the most difficult parts of drawing for people is getting started. In the Zentangle Method, they came up with the idea, let's get a border. So we're going to put dots in the corner. We're going to come and we're going to create, we're going to connect them. Today we're going to use a light straight border, and we will come around. Now notice I turn my tile. I keep my hand in the same position, but I turn my tile with my opposite hand, and that allows me to have my hand stay calm and in its most relaxed position. So we have now done step 2, which are dots in the corner, and step 3 is the border. We're now going to create a string. And okay, our next step is step 4, which is to draw a string. And basically what I want to do here is I want to turn my tile to where it's like a diamond shape. And we're going to draw this ribbon first. And so I came here and just marking very lightly, I came diagonally from corner to corner to give me kind of the center so that I can center my word in this on this line. So I'm going to roughly put in a little rectangular shape that will, and I'm doing this in graphite first, just because I want to make sure we get my ribbon in there the way I want it to be. The next thing we'll do is we'll come up here and put a little line. And then we're going to come on the side and put another little line. And we will draw another rectangular shape. About the same width as this line. And I see this is a little thinner and this is a little thicker, and I'm going to reduce this down here. That's another reason why when I'm doing structural pieces like this in my tile, I like to get it in graphite first so that I can adjust it. And that's a little better. And then we'll do the same on the other side. And we'll come out about here, 2/3 of the way up, and we will create, well, we want it to be a similar size. So this could come up a little more. So we'll adjust it. That's why I'm using graphite. There we go. The next step then is to add on the end like a little flag. Once we have that done, we're going to connect them. And you see these lines here? We're going to connect. Connect. And now we're ready to ink it in. So I'm going to use a PN for this because I want this ribbon to stand out amongst the tangles that we are going to do later. So the PN gives me a little darker line than the 01. And since we're working with our very basic tools, the PN works fine. Your time, remember to breathe. And we now have our ribbon in place. So Pangea is a pattern that really fits together like a puzzle, but it's free. It's kind of free form. You can make your own design. And what I want to show you first is I want to work with our center piece, and we're gonna tuck this pattern behind the ribbon, and I'm going to turn it to the other side, and I'll do something quite similar where we're going to make this pattern, and it can be somewhat free form. And then let me show you the full Pangea. So I would take it's going to fit right up against this this pattern, and we'll come and create a shape, something like this. And then we're going to fill it in all the way around. So I'm going to take my pen. I'm going to use my PN, and I'm going to ink around the pattern. In this pattern, I left a little space between each one of them, and then I graded in afterwards. And recently I saw a video that Maria and Rick did on this pattern, and she came in and she put it right up next to each other, fitting in together like a puzzle. So what She then did, which I'm going to try on this one that I didn't do on the first one, is I'm going to come in aura, and this aura is going to give a little bit of separation between the different pieces. So we'll come and now I realize that this demonstration is taking a little bit longer than 10 minutes. A lot of your drawings will be longer than 10 minutes. You can sit down for 10 minutes and then you can come back and put another 10 minutes in. So you can always stop this recording after 10 minutes and then come back. But we have them filled in. And I want to show you now, we're going to create this pattern and then we'll replicate it throughout the picture. So I'm going to start with this this one and come down with a little V shape. And then I'm actually taking my PN and filling in this tip. I like having this contrast, and you'll see it as we move forward in the design. It gives the eye something to focus on, and we'll work now with some auras around it. Notice my lines are not super straight. This is organic, and the reason that it's so meditative. So I added a couple of aura lines around that, around this. And then I'm now putting in some orbs. I'll give it another aura around the orbs. Taking your time, remembering to breathe, and I'll repeat this again. So we can turn this, and I'm actually making the design as I go. It's very forgiving and it's very open to you doing you with it. And the idea is that it's going to evolve. And I think we'll move over here and do one that's over here. I'll do a few of these so you get a sense of what we're doing, and then I'll let you do you. Remember to breathe. When I came up against this, I'm going to like tuck it underneath. You know, every shape is a little different, but we're doing using similar lines and letting it grow organically. I know a lot of you love organic design, and this one is for you. So you see that this is basically the design that we'll work with as we build our Pangeas all the way around. Start again with we're focusing on the process here, working to keep not really judge it. You know, it's really about the process, and you have no idea what it might look like when we're finished. And we're just taking one line at a time, and we're repeating it as best as it fits into the pattern and the shape that we have. And then we can, the results will reveal themselves as we finish, but we just keep doing the same style of this I'm actually calling a little bit of doodling, you know. It's being in the moment, listening, looking at what we're doing, and thinking, well, what would be the line that we would put next? I'm going to take a moment, just look and see where I'm at. I did in another in that first drawing that I showed you earlier, I came in with putting some contrasty lines and wavy lines into the mix when I had odd spaces to fill. This is pretty much, you're getting me in the moment here. This is not a pre-planned, not a paint by number. It's really good. You just put down what you feel like, keeping some sense of the pattern that we started with, and fill in the spaces. So we have a couple of spaces finished. We'll finish this one, and then we'll put in our word breathe. I'm using my 1 for the lines and my pen for the inking. So I go around this with an aura a couple of times, wavy lines. And then I add some orbs. And the orbs, when I put the finishing touches, I chose to add a pop of color in the orbs and leave up, and then shade the rest of the drawing. There we go. I'm doing aura around the orbs. And again, we're not looking at perfection here. We are following the wavy lines. Do something a little different here. All right, so now what I want to do is write breathe in the center of this. And I basically freehand it. I am not a calligrapher, but I do the best I can. And that's for you too. So I like to start with the beginning and end. And in the center, I'm going to put the A. And I'll have my R and my E, my T. Now, you do you here. You can measure this out, make it a little bit fancier. I'll fix it up a little bit later. But we have breathe. The next step that I am suggesting is that we get our Pangeas, and they're the one thing that is consistent with these shapes is that they begin and end at the same place. That's what Maria said was the what you need to have done. So I'm going to draw and fill in these little puzzle pieces on mine. And fit them in. I think we'll start over here and fit it in on this side. And just kind of let yourself go and see what shapes come out. And if you notice, I'm actually doing this in the graphite. I did leave some space between that one. I'm not going to be too worried about it if it needs to have a little bit of reshaping before, as I'm putting the ink on it, then that's time I'll fix it up a little bit. Notice that the border was just a suggestion, And I want to get it back a minute and breathe. And then we'll take another one. Okay, so I've drawn in my my strings, basically, or if we were talking about fragments in reticula, which is what they were talking about, we have the framework here, and we'll go, the next step would be to come with some inking. So I'm gonna stop the camera and ink it in. I don't think you need to see me doing that. So I have inked all of them in, and then I went around and I did the aura like we did earlier, and I'm going to finish this one. And I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm going to color, I'm going to make the design like I did here. And then once we have that done, then I'm going to send you to homework to finish all of the other ones in a similar way. So I put in this contrasty little pointy triangular shape. Now I will aura around it a few times. And I see that I like to put these orbs, that was the next part of the pattern, and we have limited space, but we make it work. And then what's showing here gets a little bit of an aura. Auras really help in giving a finished look. And now we have this space. So I want to leave one that kind of mirrors that, but it's a little bit thicker. And in there, I'm going to just put in some lines. And then what I'll do is I'll aura that. And continue on with the design. I think what I'd like to do is give it some orbs here. But I'm also following the idea that it has a sense of the pattern with different interpretations as the shape dictates. So with this, maybe I'll do another wavy line and give it some line, and gives it a little bit of dimension. And then we'll finish it out at the bottom. This is where I'm at so far with the design. And this is where I ended up, somewhere that you look. It could be on your desk, it could be on the altar, but wherever you need to remember to breathe, especially when you feel overwhelmed or a little bit nervous or anxious, and you can come back to your drawing and you can fill in a similar but a little bit different, and we'll finish up the go ahead and finish up all of your Pangeas, and you will have a beautiful reminder to breathe. Now we have done, this is step 5, which we've worked with the tangle. Next week we'll come back and I'll show you how to shade, because shading is step 6, and then we initial and sign, and step 8 we appreciate again. So finish this up this week, and when we come back next week we'll add some shading and a little pop of color. I think that would be the best way to do this. Now that we've completed our breathe card for today, I want to ask you something. Do you ever suffer from disease fatigue? That moment of, what tangle do I use? Where should I go? Inside Creators Art Lab, we've solved this problem by adding a little randomness and fun. Over the summer, our community created personal tangle spinners with more than 50 different tangles on here. Instead of overthinking, we just spin to choose our tangles at random. It sparks originality, removes the overwhelm, and keeps practice playful. In September's Art Lab, we'll be using the spinner for our Z-string tile challenge. And in October, we'll take it even further with a Tangle a Day labyrinth journey. At the end of the month, you'll have your own meditative labyrinth, a tool that you can finger walk anytime you need calm. And right now, you can join September's Art Lab for just $39. It's regularly $55, and the code is in the link is in the description, and that's a $16 savings. But we're only running this for the next 5 days. The sale ends Tuesday night, and that is the 26th of August 2025. The link is in the description and pinned to the comment. So remember, sometimes all it takes to refresh is one word and a few mindful strokes. Today it was breathe. If you'd like more practice like this, come join us inside the Creators Art Lab. We'll refresh our core skills, play with the spinner, challenge, and explore well-being art together all season long. Don't forget, the fall reset sale is just $39, but only until Tuesday, August 26th at midnight. Thank you for drawing with me today, and if you found this calming, please like the video, subscribe for more mindful drawing, and share it with a friend who needs a little reset. See you in the Art Lab.